For whatever reason, people have this deep sense of community and wanting to belong. And what you have to understand is that there's periods in your life that you're going to have to walk the road alone. You have a social circle. And at one point, you decide, I want to be something different. This isn't the right path for me anymore. Maybe your friends are drinking too much and they're going out and they're socializing. Maybe they're eating bad food and you don't associate with that. You want to make a positive change in your life. What you're going to realize is that when you start to make the moves, those friends are going to tell you that you are forgetting where you came from. You're different because they're not changing. See, there's this thing that we vibrate on a frequency, and you speak in fractals of energy. There's a vibrational frequency to everything. So at some point, when you want to make a radical shift in your life, certain people aren't going to look at you the same way, and you're going to lose friends. But it's okay, because the thing is you're going to move to a different level. You're going to attract different friends. You're going to have different experiences in life, and that's part of the journey. That's part of the soul's growth. And it doesn't mean that you reject people. You have an understanding of where they're coming from. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means that you're moving to a new chapter. And you have to accept that to embrace a new part of you. You have to accept that other people aren't going to approve of the new lifestyle. You have to love the journey more than the approval. There's nobody that probably gets more misunderstanding than me. I'm the guy who taps into people's subconscious mind and pushes on their arm that gets into the emotional somatic visceral response that says infinite love and gratitude, because it changes the cell's potentiation and unlocks the energy flow, eliminating symptoms. It changes the vibrational frequency outside of you. The light that's emitted from the sun is emitted outside of you, forming your reality. So as we change the way we view the world we view changes. And so I work with people and I do this. And you know what? There's people that don't accept it. They can't embrace it. They don't even take the time to understand what I'm doing with them. And they run the other way. And then there's people who encourage them and you teach them the right tools and they don't want to even embrace it, even though it is the truth and it is the reality. See, you're taking away their internal guidance system. They're not ready to up-level their life. They're not ready to ascend to a higher level, not ready to live a spiritual path. And that's okay. They're not there. So what's funny is because you are a vibrational frequency, you're attracting certain experiences and certain people to help you along the path to bring you to a higher level of consciousness. So pay no attention to the noise. You have to be like Jesus and walk on water, ignore the doubting Thomases. You have to be like Job in the Bible, realizing everything's going to be restored to you. You have to be like Noah, who everybody thought he was just a crazy drunk building an ark in his backyard, but yet the storm came. So it's about going within and listening to yourself, expenses, not worried about who comes and goes in your life. Everyone wants to talk about the blue zones, and those people live longer because they have a sense of community. And that might be what some people need. That's where they're at. But I don't really associate with that. I don't feel like I need people in my life. There's people I adore. There's people I like to have around. I enjoy socialization. But I don't care who comes and goes in my life. The reality is you are a human being having this human experience. So your whole thing is just to let life flow through you. Don't be attached to certain people. Don't be attached to certain outcomes. The whole goal the entire time was to embrace and learn about yourself. That's all you ever had to do. And you're always going to be attracting the right experiences that you need for you as an individual. Now, I get it. You want to have knowledge. You want to portray yourself in a certain way for acceptance. But what if you were just to accept yourself and embrace a journey and do what's right in your heart and just allow life to flow through you? I would argue that you would live an even longer life being self-content, not needing anything or anyone, because there's no resistance. And when we resist the flow of life, we die because the electrons don't flow. The community puts us into groupthink to belong. So there's a perspective there. It's not just, be around people and feel like you're loved. It's like love yourself and allow your energy to attract the right people. And that you are fulfilled, you are whole. So now all of a sudden, the electrons are flowing and we live a longer life, and it was never about the blue zones of community and being accepted and being part of groupthink. You can be an individual. See, you can be the cause, not the effect. Life doesn't just happen to you and then you feel a certain way. You can be the cause, and you can actually create the energetic field around you that pulls experiences and people in. That's the whole goal, is you are who you are and life moves around you. You don't react, you consciously respond. See, consciousness isn't this mystical, crazy thing. It's not all-knowing. What consciousness actually is the ability to respond without reacting. The subconscious mind is about survival. It wants to belong. It wants to make life easy. It's lazy, right? It always wants to survive. So it does crazy things like causes wars because I'm right and you're wrong when there's multiple perspectives on things. It causes people to lie. It causes people to live in their primal reflexes and cheat on their partners. It's the needs and wants that are there to fulfill the ego, where if you're conscious, you understand there's consequences. You rationalize things. You move with intention. And that's where change happens. And when you get to that point, you're able to look at situations and understand why people do things. So if you really want to make an influence, one of my favorite examples is in this book, The Puppet Master's Bible. And in that book, they talk about an experience where the author wants to get his nephew to start eating healthy. And he tries all the normal stuff and says, you'll be better at sports, you'll be healthier, you'll be stronger. And none of that really relates with him. But what he realized is his nephew had a brother, and at nighttime, they had a race to go to the bathroom and see who could get their teeth brushed the fastest. And what was interesting about that is he explained to his nephew that if he was to eat his vegetables and eat a healthier diet, that he would perform better, and he would beat his brother to the bathroom to brush his teeth faster so they could go to bed faster and win the competition. That was his motivating factor. So in order to influence people, you have to put yourself in a place of empathy. And empathy is not this thing where you just feel bad for people and do nothing, but you know how to respond and make people act to do what's best for them. Now, we can manipulate people in a bad way and use their emotions to get them to do selfish, fulfilled things for yourself, but that's not the whole intention. The intention behind having this ability of really understanding empathy and the motivation of why people do things is to get them to do the good things for themselves, to get them out of the bad habits that are self-sabotaging their life so they can reach a place of enlightenment and their soul can evolve. That's really the goal. Help people understand themselves so they can take themselves out of their own misery and get rid of the self-sabotage within the subconscious mind that's built on survival. See, people, you're creating all your problems in your life, not on purpose. But every single relationship problem, health condition, and money struggle you have, you are creating it. Now, you don't realize what it is. You have your reticular activation system up here and your blinders on, looking at the experiences around you, trying to figure out the logical thing that's going on, but you don't realize it's the energetic vibration and the fear on an unconscious level that's actually causing these struggles that you're having in life, whether it be a health struggle, a financial struggle, or a relationship struggle. You are creating that. Life is always teaching you. So we want to have this ability to use the power we have of the consciousness that we've cultivated to create good in the world, to awaken other souls. We want to be the cause of people's and being the catalyst of them healing on a deep level, allowing them to open their heart, because that's how we change the world, is through consciousness and awareness and people being able to open their heart and feel safe and know what's right for them. And it doesn't mean that everybody in your life is going to show up and be this bursting ball of energy and light. Sometimes you're put into people's life to be a catalyst, and sometimes they're not going to listen, so you can't even take offense when someone doesn't. In life, everything is happening for you. It's not happening to you, because you are this human being having this experience as a unique soul. That's it. So we don't want to judge things. We don't want to put things in the back of the mind and push through it and use our egos. We want to be aware and understand why events are occurring in our lives. Once we understand, then we can make the changes from within, because a change always happens from within. That's what the deal is. So you don't need to belong. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be the weirdo mystical healer and have people understand you. I put a copper pyramid over my bed and then ran a frequency through it to change the flow of the electrons that are there. It changes the etheric energy that's there that puts me into a deep theta REM sleep. Now, I had a friend that told me, oh my God, you're never going to get laid again. He's out of his freaking mind. He doesn't realize, like, women love this mystical stuff. They're all over. They're intrigued by it, right? But in his reality, that's weird and it's never going to work. And I didn't do it to get women. I did it because there's impact and a change that happens. And the reason why it's not weird when I meet women and women see this stuff is because I'm attracting certain people in my life that have the same types of interests. And if anybody rejected me, I really don't give a shit because I realize, they're weird, that they don't even understand. They can't put the pieces together. They don't understand physics. There's actually ignorances there that if they're not willing to accept the understanding that once I can teach them, that I don't really want to be surrounded by those people anyway. And they'll come to the realization maybe later on or a next life or whatever the case. None of this stuff really matters. Once you have this strong sense of identity, you realize that the world starts to move around you and you make the difference in the world, and not in a narcissistic way, but like you actually make a positive impact in the world and you do make a change. So the people that reject you, you don't need to be the shapeshifter and change your personality and who you are or say specific things to gain acceptance from the general public. All you ever had to do was go out randomly and just meet random people and talk to people. And all of a sudden you build up this world. It's the same thing with growing any business. It's about making connections and establishing connections a little bit and cultivating those over time, because it's the people who quit early that never get to the destination because they feel bad and they're looking at outside approval for the success. Where the success will just come in time. Fall in love with the journey and understand that when you're going through these turmoils or fears or struggles that you're having of, oh, this isn't working, I need to go a different route, just realize like the truth is in your heart. And if you know it's the right path and it's the right thing, not to say that people don't have a good perspective to listen to, but if it doesn't feel right and you're like, yeah, that doesn't sound right, like trust your own judgment. Just keep doing the thing you're doing and pursuing and realizing that your message, that your purpose that you feel within you is the right move. It feels right because it is. There's too many beliefs out there in society and you're going to be lost, right? You're going to be lost. And you have to realize the emotions of being lost are in the fire element of Chinese medicine. So the fire element in Chinese medicine deals with different emotions. It deals with your thyroid, and it deals with your adrenals. It deals with your sex organs. It deals with the small intestines. And then you have these symptoms in your physical body because you felt lost. Fire element deals with loss, being frightfully overjoyed, not sure, not thinking, being abandoned, deserted, insecurity. Those are all there. And then all of a sudden when you have this thyroid condition and you're looking for the nutritional deficiency, which it could be an iodine deficiency. It could be that your adrenals are taxed, lowering your thyroid function. But there's an emotion that's behind that. Almost every single time. It's not always sunlight and environment and EMFs and nutrition. Sometimes it's an emotional state. And if you're feeling lost and you don't listen to yourself, your thyroid function is going to be impaired, which if thyroid function goes down, then your sex hormones aren't made because T3 has to convert in your liver to make your sex hormones. So now you go to take an injection of testosterone because the whole thing is you felt lost and you were trying to gain the approval through taking an injection of testosterone to get the acceptance from the people that are around you because you wanted to look a certain way and you thought that's what you needed. But the thing is that was never what you needed. You just needed to listen to your heart and have your own guidance system. Now that you have your own guidance and you're not subject to the outside world needing approval, listening to the blue zones, all of a sudden now, boom, you're on the path and your heart is wide open and it's emitting a field outside of you. People can hear you're speaking on a fractal of energy that you're pulling people in, you're attracting people in. They want to hear your message. They want the answers. Because see, most people are lost in life, right? They're the effect. They're letting life happen to them. And it just leaves this constant need for validation approval. You know what happens when you don't give people approval? They get angry. See, I don't get angry at people. I understand their perspective and where they're coming from. I might know that they've been subject to the propaganda machine of the news media, the fake news media. I understand that, and I don't take offense to it. And I try to point them in the right direction and help them understand my perspective and maybe make a shift. It usually doesn't happen, right? Usually because someone else has authority. See, most people will only listen to somebody that has social proof, and the news media has social proof. The movie stars and the athletes have social proof. And so the bigger your circle, the more social proof you have, the easier it is to manipulate people. And you can use it for good or use it for bad, but that's just the case of how society's worked. It's called mass formation hypnosis. They're going to follow the leader, right? They're going to follow the people that have the most people that have the like or have other people. Like if you go on a podcast with hundreds of thousands of followers, immediately you're an authority. You may not even know what the hell you're talking about. Just because you're on that podcast, you're the authority, right? You might be saying all the wrong information. You might be saying that sugar is bad for you. Well, it's not so cut and dry. Sugar is actually medicine for the pancreatic beta cells. It lowers cortisol. How much sugar are you consuming? How much sugar can your body utilize? Is the cell damaged because you ate too many polyunsaturated fatty acids? You ate the seed oils in the chicken. So now all of a sudden the glucose can't get in. So it's not that sugar's bad. It's just where you're at in that spectrum and how well your cell can function. But you can restore the cell's function actually by knowing and having a strong sense of identity and not being lost, activating the thyroid meridian to function properly. So you see how this is all interconnected, and consciousness is about the ability to respond without reacting and trying to navigate where things are coming from and how life is transpiring, because it's your energy that is more than anything. And it's okay to be misunderstood. The blue zones is brainwashing. It's more propaganda nonsense to have more groupthink. Veganism is not necessarily the best way of life for most. And I would argue it's not for anyone. But the truth is there is a way to do veganism that it is healthy, and you can get the amino acids that you're deficient in because you didn't eat meat. There is a product called space milk. These Israeli scientists were blasting electromagnetically charged particles of water at the brewer's yeast. So they blasted these electromagnetically charged particles of water to the brewer's yeast, and it broke down the cell wall and made the amino acids bioavailable, and it's very similar to whey protein. So now we can get the amino acids that we need so we can make our antioxidants, because to make antioxidants, you need amino acids and you need minerals, right? Those are the two things that you need. So now all of a sudden we can do that. We can create perfect redox. We take our oxygen convert to carbon dioxide efficiently. So just be yourself. And it sounds so cliche because it's not always just about be yourself, because being yourself is also about personal development. So you should have a strong sense of identity with a curious mind, always wanting to grow and develop. So you need to read books and gain knowledge. You need to work on your personal developments and your public speaking skills. You need to understand psychology and how people operate and why they work, right? You need to understand the subconscious mind. You need to understand what drives people. And through that, that's how we can become the individual that can make the impact. Don't worry about the destination and the money and the partner and everything else. That stuff will just arrive. Develop and cultivate who you are as an individual. Make your process about becoming the man. Be obsessed, absolutely obsessed with becoming better as an individual, cultivating more knowledge and understanding, working on communication skills. That's where the answer lies. Become the person that's supposed to walk through the door. Continue in being obsessed with that, and the destination arrives. That's how health improves, because it opens up the free-flowing electrons. That's how you attract the partner, because you're going to have unlimited resources of men or women to choose from, whatever you like and whatever gender preference you have. It doesn't matter. You'll have unlimited amounts of options. Your money will multiply 1,000-fold because you will be attracting people. You will be able to work with multiple people at the same time. You don't make money by working one-on-one. You make money by influencing large groups all at the same time, helping them gain the perspective of all the struggles that you went through. Because see, you went through struggles, or you are going through struggles, but those struggles are there to evolve your soul. And as you finally understand that, you don't pay attention to the propaganda. You listen to your own heart and its rhythm, and it's beating in rhythm, and it's beating, it has a certain pulse, right? It's mind, heart coherent. You know you're on the path. right? And then you have a doubt. It pops in your mind. Oh, I have some sort of thing that's triggered this. Something reminded me of the past. Something reminded me that I'm inferior, that I'm not good enough. Okay, well, what is that? Let's change that belief, right? That's not me. That's not who I am. Boom. I'm going back on the path. I'm going to keep hitting the road. I'm going to read this book. I read books not based on what people tell me to or what everyone else is reading. I actually feel the book and I resonate to it. When I watch self-development videos and certain people on YouTube, whether it be Jordan Peterson or Owen Cook or Jocko Williams or whoever it is I choose to listen to, and I listen to a wide variety of people in different perspectives, and I don't agree with everybody, but I can understand where they're coming from. I use all these tools to how I feel, because even the people, and you may not agree with this, even Donald Trump or even Joe Biden, either side has some bit of knowledge that helps you understand why people operate in the fashion that they do. So I listen to everything, and I know there's a message into listening to certain things. And I listen to that and I try to navigate what's the message I need to get out of this to help me understand myself, that in turn will help me understand other people and help them elevate their consciousness level and help them live a better life that will actually evolve their soul. Because truthfully, that's what I'm doing, is I'm saving people's soul. I'm changing their energetic vibrational frequency that elevates them to different dimensions of consciousness. That's it. And through that, we create the life we want. We create the egotistical things. But I want to push this and drive this home, because what I want you to do is feel if it's something you should be doing. Because if it isn't, we don't want to be doing it for validation. We don't want to be doing it for why other people are doing it. We want to basically be the cause and take these mirror neurons that are in our brains and not be brainwashed by the groupthink, to actually be the impact that we want to see in the world. Don't focus on the negativity, but be the actual impact. Because focusing on the negativity actually is going to help that grow. So if we don't like what the World Economic Forum is doing, and we don't like what the corporations are doing, we don't participate in it. We ignore it. See, if you focus on what is good and what you see is right, the free market will decide, and then that's how shift happens. We can save the world, we can save people, we can save souls, but it's done by focusing on the positive things and being the impact you wish to see in the world. So stop listening to everything around you. Do what is right in your heart. Follow the biblical principles that are taught, right? A righteous man will live in prosperity. That's the truth. And living in your heart and doing the right thing, treating other people as yourself, understanding people, making the impact is exactly how we should be living. Jesus did have the messages. He did teach people how to live the right life. Right. But it's the ego that gets people to do horrible things to others so that they can get ahead, because they have the lack of self-esteem within themselves, thinking they can create it just because they always were enough. So you always are enough, and realize you speak on fractals of energy. It is okay if other people cannot hear you or even understand you. Be the weirdo, because it will always be better to appear strange to others than to be a stranger to yourself.